Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Friday Morning Chats. We're your hosts. I'm Pia and I'm here joined again with Sharissa. And we're striving every week to inform and educate on clean eating. If you want to follow us online, please visit our website at www.iamacleaneater.com. Follow us here on our social media handles under I Am a Clean Eater and also on Facebook. If you watched our Monday video, we started to talk about the standard American diet and the day in the life of somebody eating the standard American diet. And I would say, and I think it's 98% of the population, or 96 to 98% of the population is eating the standard American diet. So we went through on that video kind of what that day looks like, and I was thinking after, we missed the whole bedtime snack
part. I forgot about the bedtime snack.
We finished at dinner, and then we didn't talk about, well, let me get my ice cream.
The bowl of popcorn, or the ice cream, or the chips and dips, and all of that. That's so interesting. It didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah, and so we can add that, but that's the eating and the consumption part. Now today we want to talk about if you continue to follow this eating plan, the health issues that you might succumb to. It's not overnight, okay? This is not something that like, oh, I ate this and then immediately, the cleaner you get and you flush this stuff out, then you will have an immediate reaction, because I've noticed that on my journey.
Mine as well.
That I do feel, oh my gosh, I never thought that was going to happen to me, and it's either with a sore stomach or hives or migraine headaches, etc. Itchy skin is a big one.
Skin breakouts.
It's a big one.
I have people who eat one little bit of dairy thinking I cut it out for so long I'm going to feel good, but then their skin breaks out.
Yes. So these are like little things that you can see as you get cleaner, but if you continue to put toxins in your body. Yeah. And one simple thing I want to bring in here as we take a deeper dive today is, in October we talked about the SLIDE months and the SLIDE foods.
Yes.
So this season we've been drilled in our head that this is flu season. It's like, really? It's not flu season, it's toxic season.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yes.
And it starts back in October, where it's like, oh, let me get my, Halloween candy and all of that. Yep. Then it goes into November with Thanksgiving, with all the pies and more of the standard American diet and more of the SLIDE foods. And then December, woo, it is...
Lids off. I've already been going.
Yeah.
All I can fit in my yoga pants anyways. I might as well just full bore, January 1, make a change.
And then, of course, everybody is sick. Okay? Yeah. And of course everybody is going to be sick, because 96 to 98% of the people are indulging in the standard American diet.
It's true.
So if you were clean up until that point and then started with some sugar, oh, my neighbor baked some cookies, so I'm going to eat these cookies.
Sure.
You probably got a cold or a flu, and you start to see that because the sugar suppresses your immune system. So we want to go through right now and take a little deeper dive, and we say, okay, sure, so from a nutritionist standpoint, we say, okay, somebody is eating, they're basically sugar burners, right? It's nonstop carbs, sugar, carbs, sugar, carbs, sugar. Yeah. So what does that do to, let's say, a woman in her 30s? Let's drill down. So,
okay, good.
Where can we start there?
So let's think about what you're doing if you're a woman in your 30s. So I'm going to be 31 next month. So that's me, right? I fit that mold.
Right.
So if you're constantly eating things and being a sugar burner, you have no energy. You're waking up more tired than you were when you went to bed. You can't get through the workout. You can't make it through the day without constantly having to eat. That's when that model of 12 small meals or 6 small meals and eat every 2 hours and all of those things. Ridiculous. Because you're so hungry all the time because your body's starving for energy. So I give this example a lot in my classes, because when you eat those types of foods, the sugar, the carbs, when you become a carb or sugar burner, you can't go long periods of time without eating because your brain and your organs are literally starving.
Correct.
Because they're not getting any of the nutrients that they need. When you eat the good, high fats, high protein, nutrient dense foods, you're not hungry because your body's getting the nutrients that it needs. So what ends up happening is we have this kind of spiraling down effect of we eat the sugar, we need more sugar, so we have to continue to eat the sugar, which we need more sugar to eat. So then we're doing that all day long, and then that's when you get in that cycle of I need my 3 o'clock coffee, I have my 5 o'clock energy bar that I eat before I make my dinner. So it's kind of negative all day long, rather than actually feeding your body the nutrients that it needs. So it'll keep you going. If you continue to give your body sugar, your body will keep moving forward. The problem is the long-term effect on that. Your cells didn't get the energy that they needed. They didn't get the nutrients that you needed. You didn't get the fat for your brain or the amino acids to build more RNA in your body. So now that cellular regeneration that we always talk about is weakening and weakening and weakening and weakening.
Explain RNA real quick.
Okay, so ribonucleic acid, we have to have amino acids. So we say we have this list of amino acids, but most people know about the 8 essential amino acids. The 8 essential meaning that you have to eat them in order to have your body use them. Your body doesn't create them on their own. Your body can make all of the other amino acids just with the foods that you eat, but you have to bring in those 8 essentials.
Is it 8 or 9?
I heard 8, but it could be 9 now.
Okay.
So it's as we learn more, these things are changing, right?
Okay.
So we have to have the amino acids in order to build the building blocks to make the new cells. If you're not giving your body the building blocks that it needs, the cells that are created will be weaker. So then over time we see heart disease and liver failure and kidney problems and bladder problems, and it isn't because you did one thing wrong one time.
Right.
It's because you followed a diet over 10, 15,
decades,
even 5 years that continually broke down your body and didn't give you the cellular health that you needed in order to continue to have a good life. So your body will do what it can until it can't do anymore.
Sure. So because 96 to 98%, in our opinion, are following the standard American diet, so by the time a woman hits her 30s, we get some symptoms of brain fog, some achiness starting, the less, these are some symptoms that you might have.
And we're starting to see it even younger and younger.
Okay.
People are getting in their doctor's offices at 25, 26 and saying, why am I so sick? These are problems that my 80-year-old grandma just started having. Right? The joint pain, you wake up in the morning and everything is a little stiff, there's a ton of inflammation, the brain fog. I have clients as young as 16 coming to me with debilitating migraines, which is neuroinflammation. So if we've got inflammation in the body somewhere, this is built up over time, and it's going to take time to reverse it.
Okay.
Right? But young. It's not even, 30 is kind of, we're already at that mark, not that it's ever too late, but we've already done so much damage. Now it's going to take 2-3 years to reverse all of that.
But let's take it in decades, because I think in your 20s you still are feeling like I'm invincible. And I'm still finding myself, and you still have, generally you have energy, especially when it comes to men in this time frame. But I think what happens in your 30, generally women are starting to have kids at this point, and then they're confusing,
or they can't have kids at this point,
or they can't. Right.
This is when it's like, now
that's
we're
another
seeing
problem, right?
So many women going through IVF and hormone therapy and all of these problems that we didn't even have 20 years ago.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing, right? You're getting to this point where you're ready to start your family, and then you can't.
Right. Okay. And then that's a whole other road that you go on at that point to try to get all of these other injections and stuff for that to happen, when really, if we start to look at the diet and start to roll that back, it can be helpful.
Absolutely.
But I think if for women that have started families at this point in their 30s, they're exhausted, rightly so, because they have kids. And so I think they're confusing the exhaustion of motherhood and being a wife and family and working with really that, it stems from the diet.
Right. And just kind of as like a side note, I'm sure we'll pick this up again later because it's such an interesting and relevant topic right now. But when you do, if you've gotten to the point where you're, you know, late 20s, early 30s, and you do get to like have that blessing, you're pregnant, you have these beautiful babies, and then you start to feel really sick and really depleted, what happened is you maybe felt even great when you were pregnant, but your body then gave all the nutrients it was capable of having to that baby. So now you're even more depleted than you were before, doing the standard American diet, taxing your adrenals, taxing your kidneys, taxing all of these, you know, areas in your body that need to be replenished, but they were even more was lost because the baby came.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to go to jump off to the next decade, which would be in your 40s, okay? And so then you're continuing to have kids and live the lifestyle and continuing to go, and a lot of women are in fight or flight.
Yeah.
And then we hit our 40s. What are some of the issues that were carried from our 30s into our 40s, and what are some of the other things that we should be looking at?
So in our 40s, I hear most often women say, I hit 40 and then I gained 20 pounds and I can't lose it. That's like a really big deal. My hormones changed, something happened, and I gained this weight and it can't go away. Or I woke up one day and I couldn't see as well anymore. Or I just don't have the energy, I'm just not recovering as well anymore. And everybody wants to blame age. And I think that's the big misconception. You want to say, it's because I'm 40, it's because I'm 50, it's because I'm 80. And that's just not true. And we can look at history and look at your grandparents, your great aunts, your uncles, and see what their life is like. And for the ones that did the right things, took care of themselves, didn't take the medications, they're living way up here, and you're in your 40s living down here. So already we can debunk that myth of it's just age. It has nothing to do with age. Look at the way our world is with some of these blue zones in our world where people are living to 110, 115 years old, and we don't even know because they're just out there living their life. We're not in there, they're away from all of this, so we don't even know what how they're doing. But they've lived in such a clean way, they're doing the right things for their body. It's not age.
For generations.
It's not age, right? We've got 80-year-old women competing in bodybuilding competitions.
Ballroom dancing.
It doesn't have anything to do with your age. It has everything to do with how long you've been taxing your body for.
Yeah. And how you're fueling yourself, right? So I think it's just our human nature to make excuses that it's like, well, this is what's happening because, and I think what I've noticed owning the store for 5 years now is people want to do the right thing. They do. Yeah. They really do.
Oh, I agree.
They want to do the right thing. They just don't know where to start. So they don't know that it's like, oh, all of this food that I've been eating all this time has been impacting me negatively, and I wasn't heeding the warnings. Like I call them little taps. You get a little tap. So we've covered your 30s with, child rearing and parenting, going into our 40s. We're seeing more of that impact, the adrenals getting even more stressed into your 40s. And now, excuse me, I'm going into my 5th decade. Yeah. And so in our 50s, what are some of the things that we can look forward to if we're still following the standard American diet?
This is when you start going to the doctor for high blood pressure medication, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol medication. That's that age where we start going down that path.
Yeah, the gateway drugs,
exactly.
I call them.
So this is when the problems become so apparent you can't do anything else but follow what you've heard, Western medicine. We go to the doctor's office, we do the things that the doctor says, and this is again taught to be normal. It's part of aging. When you get to this age, you need to do these things, and it always comes with some type of pill.
Yeah.
Right. For men, we see all kinds of dysfunctions, so that they've got all kinds of pills for that. For women, we're finding heart disease and cholesterol and blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and so this is the next step. So once we've kind of depleted, we've ignored all the little taps. Now we're at the point where we can't ignore it anymore. So you either at this point wake up, take responsibility, start reversing and saying, I don't want to go down that route, or you go down that route and you just become, I look at it like de-evolutionizing yourself, like getting,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
you've started
Yeah.
here and you're
in the
going
system.
like this.
You're in the system
Exactly.
at this point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so you're on that path that's paved so well for you.
Yep.
And then more excuses. Oh, well, it's hereditary.
Yep.
Oh, my mom,
Yeah.
had this, so I'm going to be predisposed to having this too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just more excuses that just in human nature, this is what we're going to do. And we continue to try to do more diets because
Yeah.
there's even more weight gain at this point,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
More brain fog at
Yeah.
this point. And so it's so hard to bring that to our attention, but there are ways in which we can roll it back.
Right.
So now we did, 30s, 40s, and 50s. Now let's go back to our 30s. So if somebody watching this is in their 30s and saying, I think I'm on that path.
Oh,
no! What can I do now that can help?
So really good. I think the biggest thing, and maybe the takeaway message from this whole video, is that we have to take responsibility for the things that are happening right now. So
Yes.
we can't say it was because of this or this stress or this family member had this and so it's hereditary. No. If you really look at your life and say, I am responsible for everything that I've put in my body and what my body's giving me as an output. And if you can really hone in on responsibility for yourself, we can start rolling this back now.
Yes.
So really taking a good hard look at what you're putting in every day and understanding that you're going to get out what you put in.
Yeah.
Right? If you eat a donut and you expect output of a couple of hours of energy, don't be surprised when that doesn't happen.
Or if you think you're doing the better thing with a Cliff Bar or one of those Green Nature, Green Valley, whatever they're called,
Yeah.
those other bars, if you think you're doing a better service than the donut, right? Because
Sure.
it's like, oh, I don't eat donuts, so I'm okay. What she said doesn't apply to me. And it's like, well,
But
no,
some of
it's
these
still
bars that we have, the Luna bars, the Cliff bars,
Yeah.
these are still pretty equivalent to the amount of
Exactly.
sugar,
Yes.
the amount of carbohydrates,
Yes.
and you're still not getting the good quality fats, the good quality protein that your body can actually use. So that's the other component is
Yeah.
if you think you're doing the right thing, but you're adding this, protein powder that's full of a bunch of fillers, because we just look at the front picture, it's like
Yeah.
really pretty, green, vegetables, it looks really great, and it says all these all of your
Plant-based.
minerals, all of your nutrients that you need
Yeah.
for the day. The problem is the source that it's coming from. So we really have to start and look back and really take responsibility for everything that's going in.
Yeah, yeah. So this still applies to you if you're eating yogurt first thing in the morning. It still applies to you if you're eating, taking, a protein drink instead. So the idea is right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the execution
Right.
where
We're-
we can come in and help you
Right.
is in that execution.
Right.
Okay, making better choices.
And we're grateful
So-
that you're already on the path to start making the choices.
Absolutely.
But we have some really, really, really awesome ideas for you to how to make those things better. So if there's something that you're eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner that you're thinking like, this must be really good, put it in the comments. Give us the recipe. And if it's
Yeah.
something that you love, we will switch it up for you and we'll make it the best version so that you don't even have to think about where to start. Okay, Sharissa Pio, I eat this, Pop-Tart every morning for breakfast. What do I do instead?
Yeah.
And we'll give you some great ideas. We also have a ton of great ideas on our website in our meal plans, as
Yeah.
well as in our online store that you can buy, all the things you want for breakfast or all the snacks you want for lunch, and know that you're making the right choice for yourself.
Yes, exactly. So in your 30s, you can pick one thing today to look at. What am I really doing? And is that, my 11:30 mom's meeting where we meet at the Starbucks and get the, whatever that is, you can make a better version of that. Doesn't mean you stop
Absolutely.
doing that, because it's not about deprivation.
Not at all.
It's just about making better choices. Now, in your 40s, okay, what are some tips that we can leave? So in your 30s, you're feeling some of this. Maybe some of you aren't feeling completely all of it yet. But by your 40s, you start to feel a variety of different aches, pains, because the inflammation is even more, right? Because that's really what's at the base of all this is
all
inflammation.
Yeah.
So maybe something in the because in your 40s it's like, oh my God, I have zero energy, I have so much brain fog. So now we could start to look at maybe something that you can incorporate in addition to the diet, because it's not one or the other, it's this,
in addition to
probably something for your cellular
absolutely
health, right?
So now once we've kind of done that much damage, we have to not only kind of turn back the hands of time, make the right decisions with our food, we also have to think, okay, well, for 20 years, I've been damaging this area of my body. So how am I going to fix that? How am I going to feed the right nutrients to that area? Then we look specifically at the cellular health. We look specifically at that organ. If you've been taxing your adrenals for 20 years, then you need to do some support for the adrenals, specifically. If your lungs have been messed up, if you were a smoker for 20 years or 10 years, and you need to really focus on your lungs, then come and take something for your lungs, get the lungs support, the cellular health to rebuild those specific areas.
Yeah. So start thinking now in your 40s of how do I start to repair? So this could be in the leaky gut area, this could be in your liver, this could be your adrenals, like what Charissa said. So there's these major systems in our bodies that once they start to go, you can get symptoms like, you know, oh, I have thyroid issues. Oh, I'm getting anxiety issues. These are all symptoms of bigger problems that are going to rear their ugly heads when we get into our other decades, which we haven't talked about, which is our 60s, 70s, and forward. So now we hit our 50s, which is, like I said, where I'm headed. And so in our 30s, really try, you know, the cellular health is always important, so doing this together, but we just want to plant seeds of what they can do simply, just now, something that you could today, you're hearing this, and what can you change today, right now. So in your 50s, maybe up to this point, you've also done a whole sedentary lifestyle, right?
True.
So now we're looking at the food in our 30s. We're looking at the cellular health to incorporate, you know, hopefully you're incorporating this all the way through, but a lot of times nobody's doing this. So now in our 50s, what are some ways in which we can incorporate more of our movement, our mind, body, spirit? Because when we're in our 50s, I do feel like a different person, honestly. I feel like, oh my gosh, wow, I totally wish I would have known then what I know now, and I feel more wisdom, and I feel more motherly, and I feel more, you know, I feel more like want to encourage and help and mentor. And so with all of that comes, you know, we're at a better, more confident space in our brains, I think, in our minds.
I agree.
So when we start to bring that all in holistically, what are some tips for movement, health, and meditation?
I think we get so stuck in that, in the model that's, you know, get in the car, have a commute, get it to your office, sit at your desk, go home, sit on the couch, and it's just really sedentary. And this is the position that we're just in all the time. And because of that, we're losing range of mobility, we're losing flexibility. So if this is you and you're in your 50s and you're just starting out, start walking, start breathing, start moving your body. And I don't mean go to the gym, join a membership, and do 2 hours a day. I mean just stretch your arms. Instead of getting the ladder in your pantry, just really reach for something. When you're tying your shoes, try doing it standing up or squatting rather than sitting down. Start to rebuild those muscles that should have already been there. When we're little kids and we're climbing trees and running around and riding our bikes, that is giving us that full range of mobility. But over the years, we start to condense and kind of lose that. So really start to, you know, what would your kids do? What would you see the little kids running around in the street? What kind of movements are they doing with their body? And start to incorporate a little bit of that. Even if it's something as simple, like I said, reaching up high in your pantry instead of getting the ladder, reaching down to tie your shoes, grabbing things in a way that you don't typically do it, just so you can move your body a little bit more. Maybe incorporate a stretching routine. If you really haven't ever done anything, there's a woman woman on YouTube that walks you through 1 mile walking in your living room.
Yeah,
and it takes 20
Mm-hmm.
minutes, and you watch her on TV, or you put it on your TV or your computer or your phone, and you watch this 15-minute YouTube video, and by the end of it, you've walked 1 mile in your living room.
Right.
You don't have to go anywhere. You don't need any special shoes or special clothes. You don't need a gym membership. You don't have to drive anywhere. Walk a mile in your living room.
Mm-hmm.
So there are these little steps that we can take to start getting your mobility back.
Yeah, excellent. So ideally, you're doing all those 3 things, because that's the lifestyle that is I Am a Clean Eater, which is concentrating on your nutrition, which is the big one, 80% of it really. And that, if we can start to get you to change that in your 30s, that is just huge. And then as you continue through your decades, incorporating what you know you're going to need, because you can eat as many good things as you possibly can, but we're still deficient in D.
Yes.
We're still deficient in magnesium. There's certain things that no matter what, we're still going to be deficient in.
It's true, and we're always going to have to incorporate, and I don't mean to say always, but and that's me being hopeful, but our soil has been so depleted of minerals.
Right.
So we have to add those things back in until that change of tide comes. And I do feel like it is coming.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually we won't have to, but right now we do. We need to supplement with the vitamin D. We need to supplement with the magnesium. We need to add the minerals into our diet, and other things like the fish oil, the omegas.
Mm-hmm.
Those things need to be added in, because we're just not getting it from our foods anymore.
And the issue is the execution of that. So we can help you make better choices, because getting a fish oil from your local big box company is probably not the best execution of that.
Fish oil, especially with fish oil, just as a little tangent here, it's volatile. It goes rancid very quickly. So if you're going to a big box store that it's been on the shelf for 6 months, it's probably already rancid. And you can actually test that by opening up a capsule. They're typically a gel cap.
Yeah.
Put it on a styrofoam cup, and leave it for a couple of hours. If it eats through the styrofoam, it's gone bad.
Oh my.
And it happens.
Oh my.
So if you have fish oil in your cabinet that you're taking, do this styrofoam test. And if it eats through the styrofoam, it is definitely not something you want in your body. If it's eating through styrofoam, what do you think it's doing to all your soft tissues?
Yeah. And it's actually not even great to get a fish oil made out of fish. So,
not always,
you know, it's better to get it out of algae. And again, these are ways in which we can help you make better choices and decisions with regards to this. So just a quick recap, we're thrilled to be here and help you. Think of Sharissa and I as your guides to clean eating, the lifestyle that is clean eating, which includes your nutrition, which includes your cellular health, and which includes your movement, your mind, body, spirit. These 3 main components are crucial in the lifestyle that is clean eating. So our topic this week that started on Monday, and if you haven't seen that video, please go back and review it, because we're talking about the standard American diet and what the consumption looks like. Yeah. Today's discussion was the effect of that consumption and how you might, some of the symptoms that you might be relating to in the different decades of your life. Yes. So every week we're going to have a different topic. We definitely want you to continue to tune in. If you miss these videos, we have them on our YouTube channel, which you can log on to IamACleanEater.com, click on the YouTube link, and subscribe to our channel. Now, with that said, we are going to sign off, and we will see you Monday for another episode of Monday Night Insights. We'll see you next time.